Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show podcast, coming from right here in our quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. I'm joined in studio today by writer, director, producer Robert Meyer Burnett.
Shout Factory just announced a Mario Bava box set, John, on physical media.
A what box set?
I know, never mind.
Jonathan Voico is here.
It's just thrilling conversation around here.
Chris Carr is also here.
There are so many words that I don't know. Rob, explain.
Mario Bava, one of the great Italian first cinematographers and then directors.
Oh,
I
amazing.
thought you said Mario Bobbitt. I'm like,
Bava,
what?
who directed Planet of the Vampires, Black Sunday, Diabolic.
Oh.
And of
Bay of
course,
Blood?
most
Movies I
importantly,
would watch.
you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here, making our little show part of your day. And here's how our show goes. We're going to start off, as always, by covering a bunch of topics we have lined up for you guys. Then in the second part of the show, well, that's when we take your live comments and questions. If you have a thought, theory, opinion, question, or topic you'd like us to discuss, go ahead and fire it on into our tip link at www.streamelements.com/John Campea/tip. Now, here's the good news about the tip link. It's actually good 24 hours a day, so you can send one in right now if you're watching live. But if you happen to be listening to our podcast on either Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice, or if you happen to be watching our show a little bit later in the day when we're not live, you can still send in a question. And if you send one in when we're not live, we'll just get around to answering it on the next episode, provided we deem it appropriate to be addressed on our show. And look, before we get started here, I guess I should kind of mention this. We post the live event about a half hour, 45 minutes before we start the show. And I took a look at some of the discussion going on, and one of our viewers was talking with another one of our viewers and said something along the lines of, I think Campea Show is getting close to 2,000 episodes. I thought, I've never really thought about that. So I jumped into YouTube Studio, just out of curiosity, opened up the John Campea Show playlist. Now, this is before starting this show. And the video count in the John Campea Show playlist is 1,999, which means that this episode is the 2,000th episode. This is the 2,000th episode of the John Campea Show. I had no idea.
Well, Chris Carr has made sure that we can celebrate in style.
It's Kool-Aid.
July says 2,000 shows.
2,000 shows,
2,000
a little
shows.
old-fashioned this morning.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Let's hear it,
I'm
John.
glad
high
I just
quality
always
cup.
have
Show those
fashion on me.
bottles you brought.
Here's-
though.
thank you,
Those are
John.
cool looking bottles.
Fashion bottle, baby.
Oh, yeah. Those are nice.
By
Now,
the way,
I-
we're not sponsored.
Now, just
No, but they
for the
should.
record, I do want to point out neither Chris nor Rob, nor I, knew prior to the show today that it was the 2000th episode. Chris just carries hooch around with her
Yep.
wherever she goes.
It was good timing.
Listen.
That's why we're still streaming together.
She just brought in those bottles of growls. But anyway, guys, thank you to everybody
streaming
for
somewhere.
Yeah.
helping us stick around for 2,000 episodes. I had no idea. I had no clue, but thank you to everybody. And here's to at least 5 more. All right. With that down, let's get things started off here with this. A lot of trailers to talk about today. And one of the ones that I know a lot of people were very excited about was the first teaser trailer for the upcoming Zootopia 2. Now, I admit, I am not as big of a fan of the original Zootopia as many other people are. I mean, don't get me wrong, I liked it. I liked the film. But to a lot of people, it's like one of the new classics. And that just really passionately love it. At CinemaCon, they gave us a really good presentation on the movie, and it looked cute and clever. One of the really interesting things was the new character, a snake, that really looks like the snake from Jungle Book. But you got a new snake who's being voiced by Academy Award winner Ke-Huy Quan, is the voice of it. Again, we didn't know a lot. The new trailer drops, and basically what we see is Hops and Wilde, now not with the cops, they're on the run from the cops. And has got something to do with the snake. I'm gathering it must have something to do with the snake. They don't really go into much why. I can't even recall if there was really any dialogue.
There's no dialogue.
No dialogue in it. So the only thing we're kind of just getting here is now Hops and Wilde are on the run from the law, and it has something to do with that snake. Without any dialogue, I'm not really sure that I have much of an opinion on it, except that they did a quick succession of images of your favorite characters are all coming back. Of course, I love the sloth. The sloth is pretty hilarious. So a pretty, I'd say, restrained opening teaser. but I know people who love the original are probably going to eat this trailer. I mean, I think to me, this was a trailer that was really designed for those who love the original. And in that sense, I think it's going to be really, really effective. Anyway, Chris, you had a chance to see the trailer for Zootopia 2. Are you one of the people that really love the first one? Are you
Heck
excited about
yes.
this? And what do you think about the look of it?
Of course, I'm one of those people. I love my Disney animation. I love this. It's a true teaser. It actually is what a teaser is supposed to deliver.
right.
Gets you excited about seeing your old friends coming back. It gives you a little hint as to what the plot could be. I think they do a wonderful job here. And of course, we have beautiful, beautiful animation. Supposedly, the plot of this one is that Judy and Nick have to go undercover dealing with something with this snake. So that could be why they're in their civvies and we're not seeing Judy Hopps in her officer clothes or anything, especially because Nick joins the force at the end as well.
Cops are chasing them.
Cops are chasing them. Man, things took a turn in Zootopia. Goodness gracious.
Rob, you had a chance to see it. What did you think?
I really liked it, and like you said, I love the animation. I love the animation.
The animation looks
style.
really good.
I really like the character designs. You know, the first Zootopia I caught up with. I didn't see it in the theater. I caught up with it later. I own it. I bought it, and I was buying a lot of animation at the time, and I was surprised at how much I liked it. Like in terms of modern animation of the last 25 years, it's right up there with one of my favorites.
Did you guys catch the Darth Vader cosplay in the rave?
Oh no, that's great.
I did not see
No,
that
I
initially.
did not see that.
Oh my God.
But I mean, I thought it looked great, and it's you know, it looks interesting. It looks like they have a real story to tell that's very different from the first. So I am intrigued, and you know, I this old man with one foot in the grave wants to see a new animated film. That's what keeps me young.
You're gonna live
Damn it.
forever.
Now, here's the thing. Like, did the original one make... The original one joined the $1 Billion Club.
I believe so.
Yeah, I think it did.
I'll look it up.
So here's the question. Does this one have that potential as well?
Oh, absolutely.
You think it does?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, again, it has to be good.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah,
It has
a
to
billion, 25 million. It's been about a decade.
Yeah, because it came out... Yeah, think about that. This movie
2016.
came out in 2016.
Oh God.
It feels like it came out 3 years ago.
But you
Yeah.
know, to me, it's like the difference between, say, Terminator, which was 84, and Terminator 2, which was 91, because people have seen it in ancillary markets, they've been watching it, it's had time to permeate the culture, become beloved. And I think that, and it's a really good movie. The first Zootopia is a really good movie.
Yeah.
I think people, if they don't, you know, screw the pooch, shit the bed, whatever with this, I think it could be really great.
All right, guys, question is for you. Did you have a chance to see the new trailer for Zootopia 2, the first one they put out? We got our first look at the new Ki-Hu Kwan character, although I didn't get to hear him speak or anything like that. What did you think about it? Are you excited for this film? Do you think it has a chance to join the $1 Billion Club? Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on and talk about this. You know, it's been a common piece of knowledge that streaming has been rapidly catching up and maybe even getting ready to surpass the number of people who watch things on streaming as opposed to watch it on traditional either broadcast or cable television. Well, the day that everybody is kind of considered to be inevitable appears to now be here. A new report coming out of Deadline, reporting on a study from Nielsen, is now showing that as of April 2025, streaming has pretty much pulled exactly neck and neck with combined broadcast and cable. That 44.3% of people who sat down to watch stuff watch it on streaming, while a grand total of 45.3% of people watch something on broadcast or on cable. Now, according to Deadline, the streaming overall increased 15% from April of 2024 levels and half a percentage point from just this March, accounting for 44.3% of tune-in, up to half a percentage point from March. Broadcast and cable fell 7% and 16% respectively over that same year-to-year span, though each managed to inch up from March to April. So, and then they go the breakdown. YouTube is still the king of all streaming at 12.4%. Netflix is next at 7.5. Disney Plus at 5. Prime Video, at 3.5. The Roku channel. Who watches the Roku channel?
Poor Peacock. Can't even beat Roku.
Like one of my absolute best friends is a big guy over at Roku. No offense intended at all, Soul, but who's watching what on Roku? Anyway, 2.4% of people watching Paramount Plus. Congratulations, Paramount. You got as many viewers as for the Roku channel. Tubi has 2.0%. Warner Brothers, HBO Max, 1.5%. And Peacock 1.4. That's the breakdown right now.
I find that a bit astounding that HBO Max is so low.
Oh, I know.
That's crazy.
I know. It is the best one, and yet it is where it is. But still, the numbers are shifting. So you now have the difference between streaming and broadcast. I think it's 1% is now separating them. I mean, honestly, by next month, it's going to pass it, right? It passes it. Now, the reason I don't think this is a bigger story than a lot of people are making it out to be is because for a couple of years now, I think everybody has just assumed this day was inevitable, like Thanos. The only question was how fast would streaming overtake traditional television markets? The biggest question I have today, and listen, we've discussed this a lot over the years and the different questions it raises, but here's the question I have today. When you listen to online discussions like here on the John Campea Show or whatnot, all television discussions seem to be about streaming shows. We talk about Andor. We talk about House of the Dragon. A little later today, we're going to be talking about Lanterns. We're talking about Last of Us. We're talking about, they're all streaming shows, right? There's not a lot of discussion going on. Man, I don't even know what the big cable shows are.
It's mainly procedurals, and honestly, it's mainly reality TV.
Yeah, a lot of people aren't talking about Chicago PD.
Love Hotel and whatever.
Although I still watch Chicago PD. I do. I like Chicago PD. Well, whatever. But I mean, nobody's talking about all these things. So here's the question I have now: the death of broadcasting cable is inevitable. It's coming, and the change is happening exponentially fast. The change from this year to next year is going to be greater than the change from this year to last year.
Yeah.
So it's going to happen more quickly. So here's the question I have. What happens to these networks? Do they just pull, does HBO and Max kind of become the model where HBO was a cable network? Still is, but it is synonymous with Max. It is now HBO Max, and they're kind of unified. Will CBS just become synonymous with Paramount Plus? Will NBC just become synonymous with Peacock? Will eventually, maybe within the next 36 months, that these networks per se kind of disappear and they just merge in with their streaming counterparts. I mean, I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball, but the change is happening. The decline is happening quicker and quicker. So anyway, Rob, you see this. When you look at these numbers, what is jumping out to you the most? And to my question, what do you think ultimately happens with all these legacy television networks like CBS, ABC, NBC? What do you think happens to them?
Well, the numbers don't surprise me at all. I mean, our world is moving over to streaming online, which, by the way, didn't exist 25 years ago, not the way it exists now. So it's new technology. It's the evolution of, it was inevitable that we're going to move in this direction. However, the one thing about network TV is the entire business model is different in the sense that network TV existed on a sponsorship level.
Read my mind.
Advertisers bought ad time between the shows, and that's what paid for the shows. All the way back to the dawn of TV. Your show of shows is brought to you by Chesterfields, the cigarettes you want to smoke. That's the way it was. Boy, I'm old. I wasn't even alive when your show of shows was on. But that's how it worked. And that's completely changing. The ad model for media is completely different than it used to be. And one of the things that I find really interesting about network TV is my favorite show currently airing is The Rookie. But you know what?
That's another one I love.
But you know what? I've never seen an episode. I've only ever watched Rookie clips online, like in 90-second or 60-second
And
bites.
I watch it on Hulu. I don't watch it on ABC.
I have
watch it on
never
Hulu.
seen an episode of The Rookie, but I know the characters.
That is so Gen Z of you, Rob.
I know. I feel like it's such a weird. It's so weird. It's so bizarre. SVU, or call it what you want. I mean, it's at SVU. Mariska Hargitay. There's a documentary about her mother, Jane Mansfield, at Cannes this year. Huh. I didn't know that. I mean, I know it now, but I didn't know that her mom was Jane Mansfield. But it's just a weird. The whole world is changing. The real question, though, is what happens when the internet goes down? What happens when our cell phones don't work? Broadcast television still has its uses. Obviously, if you have solar power and you can run a TV after the apocalypse happens and we have no power. But in all honesty, not to be glib about it, I mean, there is something to be said for the broadcast medium. I don't know if it should go away.
On a level of national security, you would want to at least keep it functioning at some dormant level.
Because I just don't think networks, how are they going to be sustainable? I mean, eventually it's going to be 50% in terms of streaming, 60, 70. Then why would advertisers pay the kind of money they're paying now that they're going to put in ads for television?
Because
it'll be sporting events, but live sporting events are going to streaming.
Well, you're right there. There will be no more ad-free Max, this, that. There's too many billions of dollars in marketing budgets that if it can't go there, it's going to go somewhere.
Yeah, well, I look at online, YouTube is becoming, unless you're paying for it, the amount of ads in a 5-minute or 10-minute YouTube clip are becoming really off-putting, and they're going to have to figure something out because
this is a true story. Just for this, when you create a YouTube video, if it's over 8 minutes, YouTube will automatically by default have that YouTube will automatically insert mid-roll ads, right? You have to manually go in with each video and click, I will select the mid-roll points myself. Times that we have forgotten to do that, I've had people write in for we've had a 12-minute video up and YouTube inserted 7 mid-roll ads.
It's a lot.
And I'm like, oh my God. And we had to turn that off. And it was crazy.
On my live streams, when I go back and I put ads every 10 minutes. That's it. No one knows this, but that's what I go do because, dude, if I forget, if we do a 3-hour Let's Get Physical media show,
it'll be every 2 to 3 minutes.
They'll put in. There's 50 ads, and it's horrifying. Luckily, you can just go on the garbage can.
Yeah. We used to have YouTube mid rolls. We changed a while ago to take them all out. We have our own sponsor, so we'll have one sponsor play. On the weeks that we have 2, we'll have over the course of a 2-hour show, we'll have 2 commercial breaks.
Right.
But we just took out all the YouTube mid-roll stuff. YouTube will play an ad at the beginning. I think they still play an ad at the end. But we've just a year or 2 ago, we decided we're just going to take out all the YouTube mid-roll. You can't trust it because sometimes we would have a 10-minute video and it would put in 1 YouTube mid-roll ad. But then the next video, those 10 minutes, it literally would have a dozen ads play in.
Or they put it in the middle of our sponsored
in the middle
red
of
ad.
our sponsor.
So it'll be like BetterHelp, and then a YouTube ad, and then BetterHelp, and then
Anyway, Chris, you're seeing these numbers. Do any of them surprise you? What jumps out to you the most? What's the future of broadcast cable compared to streaming?
I mean, I'm not surprised by this at all because I don't know anyone who has cable. I know no one who uses traditional media.
I haven't had it in 10 years.
Yeah, everyone I know. Even my parents do not use cable.
I only use it for Dodgers.
I'm not a sports person, so I don't have them. And my friends who are have the ESPN app. So I am not surprised by this at all. The things that come to mind that I get concerned more about are things like public broadcast.
Yeah.
That kind of accessibility. And I think that's maybe why people gravitate towards things
that's
like
getting
Roku.
canned anyway.
This is very true. We're seeing,
look,
Sesame Street's over on Netflix now, all that kind of stuff, which is sad to see shows like that behind a paywall. And that's one of the things that bums me out is there should be a certain accessibility for folks to access media, news, basic children's programming and things. And that's where my concern kind of lays is I hope that there's some form of that in the future for folks. But otherwise, I mean, I don't think of any television show associated with a major network anymore. When I think about The Bear.
Grey's Anatomy?
Yeah, it's FX has The Bear, right? I don't watch it on on
Hulu.
TV, though. I watch it on Hulu. It's a
Yeah.
Hulu show to
Yeah.
me. So
Well, it's just another way. I mean, look, I'm just saying this. I'm not saying this is some kind of conspiracy theorist, but big tech controls the internet. And if they want to turn it off or they want to prevent something from being shown, they can. Whereas broadcast, you can still have somebody in a boat off the coast, like a pirate broadcast station broadcasting whenever.
And then you got to have people with the ham radios to hear it.
Well, that's true.
It's a two-way
Everybody
street,
needs
right?
everybody needs to start getting solar-powered TVs that they can just take out in their
I
backyard.
just did this too. I'm glad I had my fingers up and not this. But anyway, yes.
Well, but then you just did it. So.
So there. I'll give you the meme. There's your
John,
footage for the meme.
no. Happy 2000, y'all.
Got 2,000 episodes.
Wow, here you go.
Anyway, guys, the question is for you. What do you think about this? Apparently, the day we've all known was coming is basically here now. Streaming is surpassing now cable and broadcast. Do you expect, like we do, that the rapid change and shift over is just going to get even faster now? What happens to the traditional legacy networks? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. That down. Let's move on to this, shall we? It was with some surprise that we heard a little while ago that HBO Max was going to be having a prequel series to the It franchise called Welcome to Derry, where Crumble Patch, what's the name of the clown?
Pennywise.
Pennywise. Crumble
For
Patch.
shame, dude.
Crumble
Even
Patch.
I know.
We were just talking about it before the show. I don't know why I suddenly froze on it. Anyway, we're the Pennywise back in the 1960s. In Derry. So listen, HBO is still the gold standard of making excellent television. So even though in my best Chris Carr, when I heard they were doing a Welcome to Derry, I thought, for why? Like, what's the point? I don't really see the need for it, but whatever. No movie or TV show has ever been necessary to be made. So why not? Well, the first trailer has now dropped of Welcome to Derry. And I don't like it. Now, again, that's not me saying I don't think the show's going to be good, because it's HBO. It's probably going to be great. And I do love that opening where the family picks up this kid hitchhiking. It's like, where's home, kid? And it's like, anywhere but Derry. It's like, that was kind of a cool moment. The big thing for me about the trailer, and Jonathan and I were talking before the show started, that was funny, was the main draw for anything It, Welcome to Derry, whatever, is Cumberprickle the clown. I mean, it's Pennywise. He's the main draw.
Prince Cumberbund.
Prince Cumberpickle. So he's the main draw. And you showed him for it, like, in darkness, quick silhouette for 2 seconds in the trailer. I think that was a mistake. Now, maybe that was an accurate thing, because maybe we only see Pennywise in 2 or 3 episodes. Maybe everything else in the show is going to be foreboding and like implied and all that. And then maybe in the last couple of episodes, then we get our first look at him. Maybe. Look, again, it's HBO. I have very little doubt that the show will actually probably be top quality. I just didn't think it worked that great as a trailer. But Jonathan, you liked it. Like you thought it was really
I thought it
good.
set the tone perfectly. I think part of what we watched this is not just for Crumble Bop the clown, but it's for these moments where he's getting in all these kids' minds, these terrifying moments. It's for moments like this where that red balloon comes up with the scary smile, and I just felt like it set the tone. Look, it does feel like a bit of a rehash of the first It, not It 2 when they were adults, but it's like, okay, same city street, they're on, it's like E.T. and Stranger Things, they're on their bikes. But I love that. I'm in. Like I didn't really even need to see it. We heard the giggles, we heard the whispers. For me, it worked personally. For a teaser, maybe they'll put out another one, but it worked for a teaser for me.
Chris, you had a chance to see it. I know you're not the biggest fan of the It franchise.
Yeah, I loved that guy being far away. Don't you come close to frame. You stay back over there.
What do you think about the trailer?
It's really effective. It's really great to the point of, oh shit, am I gonna have to watch this scary ass show? Am I gonna have to suck it
Zoom
up and
enhance
watch
on that
this?
smile.
Yeah, God, it's so creepy. I hate all of this. I hate it so much. But I think it's really well executed. And to your point, Jonathan, I think that kind of creeping fear of having Pennywise just start infecting everyone, for lack of a better term, is really great in this trailer. It sets the tone really nicely. Look, I'm somebody who got nightmares from people sending me the gif of Pennywise waving that little boy's arm.
Oh.
I'm such a baby. So I am not in the market for this, but man, did this give me the heebie-jeebies.
Rob, what do you think about the trailer?
I liked it. I mean, okay, here's remember, this is now what, the 4th Roy Lee production that he's executive producing this year? Man, that guy's the most successful producer probably who ever lived. But anyway, so I'm watching this and I'm thinking to myself,
Kevin Feige might say something about that, but yeah.
I don't know, man. He's more diverse. Put it
Sure,
that way,
yes.
in
Yes.
terms of the subject matter, Mr. Lego Movie himself. Here's the thing. Why would you live in Derry? I'm watching this trailer and I'm like, somebody needs to explain to me. Do you remember the old Sam Kinison? You remember Sam Kinison?
Oh yeah, the comedian.
And he did a during the Ethiopian famine, he did a bit where he goes, "You guys have to move to the food. You live in a desert. Nothing grows there." And I feel the same way about this. People are dying. There's an alien entity that lives underneath the ground where you're living. There's all kinds of supernatural stuff happening. Why stay?
Because all the adults.
It's a small town America. Go, leave. There's no reason for you to stay. I want to say to all these people, I was watching this trailer, I wanted to reach through the screen and say, don't stay here.
Because you're watching
go.
through the eyes of the children who Pennywise exposes himself. He manipulates the minds of the adults.
Okay,
The children going missing is a part of the history of Derry, though, that we find out from the It movies, right?
But wouldn't you think parents would be like, we're leaving?
Yeah.
Like, we're going.
But isn't that the
That's a
classic
town,
horror
Deuce.
movie thing? Like, why are these people still living in this house? Like, that's the classic thing, right? With these movies, it's like, wait a minute, why are you still living there?
In
You've
this
heard
economy?
sounds coming from the attic
mean-
for 6 months. That's 5.5 months too long.
But look, I did think the trailer was creepy. I thought it was well done. I thought it was beautifully shot. I liked the locations. The characters I enjoyed. And by the way, I did read it. The week it came out.
Congratulations. Oh.
Originally, what, 1986? came out the summer. I read it in the summer of 86 at Luther Burbank. Yeah, summer of 86 at Luther Burbank Park. I went every day and read it in the sun, and the book terrified me. I loved it.
What year did the original miniseries come out?
That
early
was
90s.
89 or 90. Yeah,
89?
90.
Okay, I thought it was a little
I think
before
it was
86.
early 90s.
Yeah, you're right.
And Tim Curry was great.
Would have been like 1991 maybe.
The people, some in the live chat, the people who live in Derry, then summer vacation at Camp Crystal Lake. Because why not?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Rob, is like the answer to any horror movie is like, why would you do that? It's like, well, then you don't have horror.
I know. Look, I know. It's at least they don't live in a world where they have to deal with why, when you have cell phones, how come you can't just call the cops?
Right.
All right, guys, question is for you. What did you think about the trailer for Welcome to Derry? Were you like me and a little bit underwhelmed by it, or like everybody else in the room who really quite liked it? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Staying on the theme of trailers, a new, very big trailer dropped this morning. What they are calling the final trailer for Jurassic World Rebirth, with Scarlett Johansson and two-time Academy Award winner
Two-time.
Mahershala Ali, not
Two-timer.
about to star in Blade anytime soon, but hey, he can fight dinosaurs.
But he's an action star.
He
You
is
can
an
tell
action
from this
star.
trailer. He's an action star.
He is definitely an action star, and this new trailer dropped. Look, this whole movie, the whole existence of this movie is a bit of a weird thing, because on the one sense, you can kind of feel like this Jurassic World franchise has been run into the ground. The last movie wasn't all that great, but it made over $1 billion.
I don't get it.
I mean, wrap your heads around that. It made like as big as you think Minecraft is. Didn't make as much money as the last Jurassic World movie. And so, again, I can understand why you go back to the Wild Make It. People love seeing giant dinosaurs eating people. But I gotta
You
say,
said it.
one of the things that has kind of stood out to me as a positive with some of the marketing we've seen, and I remember I said it on this show earlier. I said, it looks like they're trying to get back to the horror aspect.
Yes,
for sure.
that's
of
what stood out
Jurassic.
to me.
And this particular new trailer really drove that home.
Yeah.
They are trying to get back to some of the, because ever since the first Jurassic, don't get me wrong, there have been scary elements of all the Jurassic movies, but it was that first one that really kind of felt like a hybrid horror in many ways. This one feels like it's trying to get back to those roots, and I gotta say it's working for me. I liked this trailer. I mean, Jonathan, you were mentioning a little bit earlier, there was clearly some Jaws influences.
Right here. Yeah, look at this. I mean, I was telling Chris, I was like, come on. You got to get
Yeah.
further out on the boat. I need it for scale. I mean, come on. This is right out of Jaws,
Yeah.
and they're definitely taking from
We
like
need
horror.
a bigger boat.
Yeah, I think I even said they took from Godzilla when it showed. I don't have the shot, but when it
Yeah,
it showed the
yes.
T-Rex go underwater and swim, it looked like Godzilla.
A little bit like Godzilla going under there. Anyway, yeah, it's working for me. And look, the moment they announced Scarlett Johansson was going to be in it, like that was to me, it's like, this is an Academy level kind of actress. She has right now at this point in her career, a lot of options and choices for what project she does or doesn't want to be involved in. And the fact that she chose it, and then we found out Mahershala Ali was joining it. He's a 2-time Academy Award winner.
2-time.
And
I wasn't
so-
sure if we were doing it. I didn't commit.
And so it's like, okay, so they must see something in the script that they really like. Look, I don't know that the movie's going to be good, but I like the trailer, and this is the most excited. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not as excited as I am for like Superman or anything like that, but this is probably the most enthusiasm I've had for a new Jurassic Park movie, Jurassic World movie, in a long time. I liked what I saw.
Can I just say this was a perfect opportunity to shoot it in the eye, and they
That's what I was thinking too. Shoot the damn thing in the eye.
Well, and they were like, that'll make Chris Carr really sad, so we won't. And thank you.
Rob, you had a chance to see the Jurassic trailer. What did you think about it?
First of all, I really, in the Jurassic World franchise, they've tried to make dinosaurs like friendly pets.
Aw.
Like Blue. Let me pet my dinosaur. I get why they try and do that, but all you have to do is ask kids what they want. And like we said, you brought it up. Kids love nothing more than seeing dinosaurs eat people. That's the whole point. That's why Jurassic Park, the original, was, I mean, what do? Spielberg knew. You had 2 raptors hunting 2 little kids in a kitchen. I mean, that was terrifying.
It's one of the best scenes ever.
What did Spielberg do in Jaws? He killed the Kittner kid. I mean, we're reaching the
That
50th
little Kittner
anniversary of
boy.
Jaws. Spielberg knows you kill kids in monster movies. I just got Prophecy in 4K from 1979. What happens? A kid in a sleeping bag gets smashed against a rock by a giant mutated gummy bear, monster bear. It's the best when you kill kids in dinosaur movies. That's why people go.
I just
Like,
need a
that's why
quote
people
t-shirt,
go.
Robert Meyer Burnett. It's the best when you kill
No,
kids.
Y'all are doing
the
some
thing is,
real
they
work
tried-
for the
they
clip outs
tried
today.
To humanize. They tried to humanize this whole thing. Just because you can do a thing doesn't mean you
You
should
should.
do a thing.
Hey, listen, I want to remind you, the Jurassic series was the movie series that had the testicular fortitude to actually kill the dog.
Well,
Remember they did that?
yeah,
There's
100%.
Yep, that
and they
never
kill,
happens.
they kill a goat in front of a little girl. Well,
Oh
off
yeah,
screen.
well, off
Right.
screen,
But I think what's
same with
really-
the dog was off screen.
I think, first of all, that big water sequence was in the original, Michael Crichton's original Jurassic Park novel, and they didn't have the effects at the time to pull it off correctly.
Sure.
Because at that time, water
Yeah.
was really hard to generate in CG. It was a very difficult thing to do. So they didn't have the ability. So one of the things that they decided to go back to, if you watch the interviews, that's the only reason I know this, is they brought that big set piece back for this movie.
Right.
And I think that, first of all, that's really cool. And the fact that this is leaning into the horror elements, I mean, from the last trailer, when you see, like, it looks like we're watching Outbreak. Let me out of here, and the
Oh, yeah.
guy in the suit.
And it just slowly comes up behind him.
I'm so excited.
This looks like a throwback to what you were saying with the raptors in the kitchen. And the
yes,
kids
I mean,
in the...
Look, we want dinosaurs, and that was the whole thing. Have them take over the world. We're trying to like coexist with dinosaurs. We can't. Let's make a post-apocalyptic Jurassic Park movie where they've eaten half the population. Instead of Thanos snapping his fingers, dinosaurs. Come on. This could go on as long as they make dinosaurs kill people effectively. We could get almost up to the same level of the Friday the 13th franchise.
You know, and that brings up one of my concerns about the trailer. And honestly, one of my concerns about the trailer is that boat that's going to the island. I want to see 40 crew members.
With 5 left.
You need enough cannon fodder for the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
I'm concerned that there's not enough cannon fodder there for the dinosaurs to off. I wanted to see like 20 or 40 or 50 people on that boat because now there's only like a small selection of humans that can get eaten.
See, now you just shattered my verisimilitude. I don't believe this movie anymore.
Anyway, Chris, you had a chance to see the new trailer for Jurassic World Rebirth. What did you think?
Well, like my esteemed colleague, kill them kids. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, you cowards. Oh, this trailer actually got me way more excited about this movie because going into it's been I like this cast.
Yeah,
I like dinosaurs eating people. But also, the last few movies have not been exciting to me. They've not been particularly good.
A return to scale, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes, we were talking about that. We can actually see these dinosaurs are big and massive.
But sorry.
Oh, no, go for it. What were you going to say?
Well, Spielberg shot Jurassic Park in 185 because he wanted to do that shot and show scale. But because this is 239-1, you miss what Spielberg learned in the original Jurassic Park.
See, that is absolutely the kind of stuff I want to know. Thank you.
But they are inching toward it because before they would just do a wide shot. And then it's just like...
now I'm sure it's IMAX.
Yeah. But I think this looks much more exciting. I think this looks like there's so much more danger around every corner. There's real stakes and the baby. I mean, this is so toyetic. This is them going. It's
them wanting toy.
I don't care. I like it.
I love it. I want that backpack.
A kid would be like, "It's a baby. Let's take it with us." And it's like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't touch the baby.
It's just a baby.
I want them to have the guts to find a baby velociraptor.
Oh
It's
no. There goes your finger.
Maybe we don't take that with us, kid.
Listen, every kid who watched Land Before Time is like, absolutely, I would rescue that abandoned little triceratops.
Yeah.
I need that so badly.
This is like Alien Covenant Jurassic World.
Totally.
Well, so that looks like it's been a hybrid with what's the dinosaur that's got the helmet for a head? A
Megamind?
It's a PH starting.
I know the one you're
dinosaur.
talking about. Yeah.
It looks like it's bred with that. It's wild looking. That looks genuinely spooky.
I just love that there's like a third. There's Isla Sorna and Isla Nublar, but this is like a third island.
Is it, or are we on the test? On the Jurassic, the second book's island? I can't tell.
All I know is Isla Sorna and Isla Nublar. Isla Nublar is where the original park is, and Isla Sorna was the. But this seems to be like a third island. Which, if they're going to expand the Jurassic Park canon, I'm fine with that.
All right, guys, question is for you. What did you think about the new trailer for Jurassic World Rebirth? I got to say, I think it actually looks quite good. I mean, maybe they're turning this franchise around. I don't know. I think a lot of people are going to go see it, though. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, we still got a number of things to talk about, including the reviews for Lilo and Stitch are now out. They're good, but they're not great. Also, I don't know that I've been this excited for a zombie movie in a while. Will Poulter has just signed on to star in a medieval zombie apocalypse film where he plays a monk called Rapture, and it sounds amazing. And James Gunn, responding to people online, has officially confirmed what the actual timeline order is and appearance order for the new DC universe, at least up to the end of 2026. We're going to talk about that and a few things more. But before we do, we're going to take a quick second and thank one of the sponsors of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, our friends at BetterHelp. Guys, we want to take a second and thank a sponsor of today's episode, BetterHelp. You know what? I think we've come a long way in how we talk about mental health. I mean, that great show Shrinking certainly helps, but it used to be something people avoided bringing up. But now, more and more, we're realizing it's just as important to take care of yourself mentally as it is taking care of yourself physically. But still, 1 in 4 Americans say that they've skipped getting any kind of help because they're afraid of getting judged, and that has got to change. This month is Mental Health Awareness Month, so let's talk about how therapy isn't just for people going through major life events. It's for learning healthy coping strategies, building boundaries, and growing into the best version of ourselves. And BetterHelp makes it easier than ever. They've been connecting people with licensed therapists for over 10 years, with a network of over 30,000 professionals across a wide range of specialties. It's completely online, so it fits into your schedule. No commuting, no waiting rooms, and if the therapist you're with isn't the right fit for you, you can switch at any time, no extra cost. We are all better with help. Visit betterhelp.com/Campea to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Campea. And thank you to our friends at BetterHelp for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys, with that down, let's talk about this. Lilo and Stitch. It opens this week. I'm very excited to see it. Listen, I'm a Mission Impossible fan, but I have to admit, I think I'm actually more excited to see the new Lilo and Stitch. I think the trailers have been completely adorable. I think they nailed it getting that little girl to play Lilo. And Stitch looks fantastic, so I'm really excited about it. Well, the full reviews are now out, and they're good. They're not great, though. As of right now, Lilo and Stitch is holding a 71% on Rotten Tomatoes. Again, solid score. But again, it's some mixed reactions as well. Here, let's read some of the reviews. Phantom Wire writes, all in all, this version of Lilo and Stitch is cute, if not particularly memorable. The bloated runtime and jokes that don't land hold it back from ever being more than diverting, but the impactful emotional beats allow it to still connect. So they liked it. Zach Pope Reviews liked it, saying, Lilo and Stitch is the best Disney live-action remake, lovingly reintroduces the original story to a new generation, giving them the chance to fall in love with Stitch, who is still the heart of the film, but the true soul lies in Lilo and Nani's Ohana. Mama's Geeky liked it, saying, Lilo and Stitch might be Disney's... let me try that again. Lilo and Stitch might be Disney's best live-action remake yet, but it isn't without issues. The ending change is unnecessary and frustrating. That said, Maia, I'm sure I'm going to mispronounce his name, Maia Kealoha is a star and completely steals the show. You can just tell that from all the preview stuff. The Daily Beast liked it, saying it's jovial, zany, and sweet, and it recreates its adorable title alien via CGI and a Sanders voice performance with pitch-perfect accuracy. The Associated Press didn't like it, and just very simply says, Disney should have left the original alone. So you got the movies liked it, saying, Lilo and Stitch has it all. Comedy, chaos, and tender dramatic moments tugging at the heart. Culturists didn't like it, saying Lilo and Stitch is dead set on realizing countless half-hearted retreads of scenes from the original animated classic. So rigidly emulating the past only heightens the specific egregious visual shortcomings of this production. IndieWire didn't like it. Says the heart of this story remains fully intact, but there's something about seeing it rendered in live action that takes away its inherent magic. It's harder to fall into, much tougher to lose yourself in. Jeremy Johns didn't like it. I thought Stitch was great. The rest of the movie, I'm not going to remember. We Live Entertainment liked it, saying Lilo and Stitch does have winning elements, largely the casting that still makes this version entertaining, despite my continual thoughts regarding the limbo these remakes exist. Variety didn't like it, saying somehow Lilo and Stitch has lost its unpredictable sense of anarchy in its retelling. For all its intents and purposes, it could be a Hawaii set sitcom. Last one we'll do here is Mashable. They liked it, saying, like with every Disney remake, you'd be better off watching the original, but if you have to watch one of the remakes, this is the one. So, overall, people seem to like it. They all basically seem to think the little girl playing Lilo, big win. That Stitch himself is great. I never want to criticize why people like or don't like something, especially when I haven't seen the movie yet myself.
Good plan.
I will say, though, that one of the common threads I've seen in a number of the negative reviews and some of the positive ones, their criticism seems to be completely based on comparing it to the original animated one, instead of just evaluating this movie on its own merits.
Well, and the fact that it's even remade.
Yeah, like, for example, I think they're missing a point. Like, my wife, Ann, loves Disney, all that kind of stuff. She's never seen Lilo and Stitch until 2 years ago when I showed it to her for the first time, even though she is Lilo. But she had never seen it. A lot of people have never seen it. And now look, I'm sure if I read their full reviews, they go into other rationale as to why. I'm just saying, for me, it kind of stands out that, did you simply go into this movie intent on evaluating it compared to the original and not as its own movie and just in and of itself and judging it good or bad on its own merits. I'm somebody who hasn't seen the movie yet, and I'm not trying to criticize their basis for criticism. I'm just saying that's one of the common threads that seems to kind of jump out at me, and maybe I'll get it and understand it once I see the movie myself, or maybe I'd understand the perspectives a little bit better if I read their entire review and their whole rationale. I'm sure there's more to it. Again, generally, positive reviews, 71%, great. Lilo's great. Stitch is great. A lot of people questioning the rest of it. Anyway, Chris, I know you are excited for this movie.
Very much.
What do you think about some of the responses we're hearing from it? I don't know. What's standing out to you?
I mean, the note in general of, did this need to be made, is always no. I mean, it's almost always no.
No movie in history's ever needed to be made. Yeah.
So, and especially when it comes to the Disney live action films, it's, well, yeah, there's already another movie of this. So what else are you going to add to this? What it needs to be said right now about it? And that all being said, I think this still looks charming. And honestly, these reviews are pretty much where I thought they would be.
Yeah.
I figured there would be some people who were a bit more cantankerous about this, who would have a, well, you know, you might as well just watch the original. This doesn't add anything. There's no value here. It's a different retelling. It's a different version. And unless it completely, you know, undermines the original message of found family and, you know, sticking together through times of adversity and feeling different and alone in the world and finding people who accept you for the exact little weirdo you are, this movie can't do any damage to the original, right? Unless it's like, hey, you know what? That whole moment where Stitch realizes he's the lost little ugly duckling, screw that. He's a terrible little thing, and you should feel bad about being different, and you should assimilate. Like, that's the only thing they can do to ruin the kind of idea behind Lilo and Stitch. So I'm still excited about this. It's a bummer that some of the other critics went into this I guess wishing they could get a play-by-play, like they want a shot-for-shot remake, like it's Psycho or something. I don't know why you would want that.
You wouldn't.
You wouldn't. I don't think so. I think this will still be charming, and this is the bottom line here. Kids are going to love it, regardless of what critics think. Kids are going to love it, and this movie is still going to make $1 bajillion. Yeah. As long as it's good, it's going to make so much stinking money.
Yeah.
Rob, what's standing out to you with the reviews we've been reading?
Well, look, like Chris said, I'm against. I think it's been silly that Disney has been remaking their animated classics as live action movies. However, then you and I both went and saw Cinderella.
I love that movie.
And you know, Kenneth Branagh directing Cinderella. I mean, Lily James, Helena Bonham Carter's the fairy godmother. Mm-hmm. I watched that film, and that convinced me that there was still life. That remaking an animated classic could work. And there's been, like, I loved the quote-unquote live-action Jungle Book. I thought that was, I loved it. I loved it. And the Christopher Walken, I mean, it was awesome.
So good.
Some of them, you know, the need to do Lion King, I still don't quite get.
And how good is the new How to Train Your Dragon?
Well, that's the thing.
We ended up loving that.
I ended up loving How to Train Your Dragon. And I was like, but we both thought it started slow.
Yep.
And I never had an experience in a movie theater where I'm watching a movie going, and then 20 minutes in, suddenly a switch got flipped in my brain going, I love this, you know, and I love that franchise. I love all those. And by the way, great 3D discs too, all three of those. those are, I love those movies. And against that, but it worked. That movie worked, you know, and all the clips I've seen of this film that we saw at CinemaCon, the extended scenes that they've shown online, they work for me. And I'm not, like, Lilo and Stitch is a fine movie, but I don't love it. I don't love it the way I love Fantasia.
Yeah.
Or Snow White or Pinocchio or the classics because I'm old. But there's something about, there's magic in the way they created Lilo in CG. There is magic in how they did that.
Stitch.
Or pardon me, yes. Did I say
She
Lilo?
might be CG too.
She's that cute.
No, the way they did Stitch.
CGI.
She's that adorable.
But there is something about that. That's what I was captivated by, was the Stitch, the quality. They made it look like it was a felt puppet.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it was such a weird, it wasn't Uncanny Valley, but I'm like, they nailed it. And I think for that alone, it's going to mesmerize kids. And there might be, people were saying in reviews it's treacly, like it's too emotional. I'm like, kids love that. That is not going to hurt this.
Well, not everything. And we've talked about this before. Sometimes it's really great when you have like a horrible, despicable villain. And sometimes it's better when you have a really lovely, warm, heartfelt story that a kid can just go to or an adult can go to and go, I feel better. I feel good, and I feel like I just got a hug in the form of a movie.
And no one's talking about the incarnation of Stitch, how they created it. There's something really mesmerizing about that I think they're discounting in these reviews because they just assume, but they've done something. I don't know if it's magic from Derry that has ensorcelled my brain, but they've done something really interesting with the creation of Stitch that I think is going to really work on audiences this weekend. We'll know Monday.
Yeah, and one of the things, whenever these live action things happen, a lot of people, and we've seen in some of the, like, just watch the original. Here's my thing, and I've always stood by this. Here's a great example. Guy Ritchie's Aladdin, I think, is a wonderful example of this. I loved that movie. Now, do I love it as much as the original Robin Williams classic? No, but that movie is a great example of a true to the spirit of what the original was, but it's its own completely different experience. When I watched Kenneth Branagh's Cinderella, of course I grew up, my mom would always show me the original Cinderella. This Cinderella was definitely Cinderella, but it was a completely different experience. How to Train Your Dragon. Again, we were lucky enough to watch the full film at CinemaCon. Can't wait for the rest of you guys to watch it, but it's very true to the animated movie. But at the same time, it's a completely different experience. And I think this movie exists to give a new experience, even if it's the same story. Now, again, I may not like the film. I haven't seen it yet.
Right.
But I love when you can take a great story, whether it's animated or whatever, particularly when it's animated, and then you can create a completely unique experience by changing the medium of it. I'm all for giving that a shot. And I think there's some people who are kind of dead set against it, but I'm really looking forward to what kind of a different experience this gives me as opposed to the animated film.
Well, and I think that's the whole idea here of seeing a very three-dimensional Stitch and how that exists in our current world and our current landscape is really fun and interesting. And we've talked about this so much too. There's so many other things that Disney can mine, and that's the way to do it. Don't bring up like a beloved, wonderful Academy-nominated film like Beauty and the Beast. That one didn't really work, I think, personally.
Yeah, that one didn't quite work. But that was because it just wasn't very good.
Yeah, and the original one, it was this is near perfect, so I don't know what you want to add really, but if you did something like a Black Cauldron, like an Atlantis or something, it's the same kind of idea of Stitch. What can I do now with the technology? What can I do now that's a really fun and exciting thing that makes live action meaningful?
Plus, I do think that there's something to be said. Lilo is so adorable. That girl is so adorable.
She's so precious.
That when kids see her, it's there's something going on. It's different when you're actually watching a human being as opposed to watching animation. And to see an actress that's that appealing to kids, I bet that is a very empowering thing, maybe on a subconscious level for the audience that is going to go out and see this movie this weekend.
It's important to see yourself on screen too. And so if you are a kid who gets made fun of as much as Lilo, seeing that in live action hits differently than it does in animation. And I say that as somebody who fully loves animation, but when you see a small, 6-year-old child being made fun of by her peers, it's more real and it hurts. And I think it's important for kids to go, gosh, I've gotten bullied like that too. I've had that hard time. I definitely have a place in people who love me no matter what for being myself. That's important to see.
I want this movie to succeed.
Yeah.
I want to like it. I hope I do.
It seems like everybody working on it. Look, can you say it's a shameless cash grab? It is. I get it. But it looks to me like the people who made this movie gave it their all. It's got authorship, and they obviously tried to make the best movie they could. And I hope it makes all the money.
All right, guys, question is for you. What do you think? The full reviews for Lilo and Stitch are in, and they're good, but they're not great. And I don't know. I'm very excited about the film. I hope I like it. What did you guys think? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comments section below and leave your thoughts there. All right, guys. That down. Let's move on to this, shall we? The zombie genre, to me, is... I have a love-hate relationship with it. Because on one hand, they're all the same. Like, it's all the same thing. Every single one of them. They're all the same thing. But some are definitely much better than others. Train to Busan, Shaun of the Dead, things like that, right? We just got an announcement about one of the most interesting sounding zombie projects I've ever heard of. And it's going to have Will Poulter This comes to us from Deadline, who write the following. Will Poulter, Kit Connor, and Manu Rios are set to leave the buzzy horror Rapture, which Hanway Films will be launching for the Cannes market. It's an intriguing premise. Listen, I love this. Set in medieval England in the year 1348, the story alights on Lansley Abbey, a remote stone monastery in Yorkshire, which houses 10 monks bound by a life of strict routine and devotion. Their fragile peace is disrupted by the arrival of a messenger, a man with haunting news from the outside world who rapidly shows symptoms of a mystery illness. A virulent plague is spreading through the land, marked initially by hemorrhagic fever? I'm probably
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Fever?
Ebola.
So they're bleeding. Yeah.
It turns its victims into revenants, restless, undead beings. As the contagion closes in, Lansley Abbey becomes a battleground. Desperate outsiders beg for refuge while the infected threaten to overrun its walls. The monks are torn apart by a mortal rift between those who believe they must care for the sick and those who want to protect the centuries of knowledge safeguarded by the monastery. As death is fully unleashed, so too is the brothers' capacity for extraordinary acts of altruism and ruthless betrayal, forcing them to confront the ultimate question: what does it mean to be human?
Man, I'm in.
I'm sold.
That's really rad sounding.
Yeah.
It's
I'm like,
not
okay.
often just a synopsis. Like sometimes a trailer will play. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm in. It is rare that simply a printed synopsis makes me sit up in my seat, go, I'm in. This did it. Everything about it. First of all, the whole idea about setting it in the 13th century. Crazy good. Will Poulter. Crazy good. What does that mean? But now also like a monastery, and as the zombies attack, the real story is, what does that do to people? What can that do to some thinking we got to save people? Some people, we got to save the history that's here. Some people displaying wild acts of kindness. Some people exhibiting wild acts of brutality and inhumanity. I mean, everything about this sounds absolutely glorious to me. I cannot wait for this to become a reality. I cannot wait to see this. Chris, you read this story.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think about it?
I'm stoked about this, and that might surprise some people. I do like zombie films. I don't like traditional horror slashers, and that's why Walking Dead, after a certain point, got a little too ugh for me because it became kind of torture porny. But I love seeing zombies get all messed up. It's fun. It's a good time. And this sounds like a really interesting reimagining of the zombie genre. I love setting it in medieval times. Gosh, sorry, I don't mean to reference a fast food place. I love setting in medieval times. It kind of sounds like a really rad one-off D&D campaign, honestly. It sounds like something that your DM would like gift you with around Halloween. And this time we're dealing with zombies. Mm-hmm. I love Will Poulter, and Kit Connor, I think, is such a tremendous actor. I'm so excited to see him in more and more stuff. I first kind of took note of him in that wonderful Elton John film with Taron Egerton. He played the younger Reggie in that.
Yeah.
And he was just so good. And then, of course, he went on to Heartstopper. So this cast is incredible. The concept sounds really cool. I'm all on board. I think this is going to be super fun.
Somebody in the live chat, Keon in the live chat, this is for you, Rob. Think about this. I can hear this pitch. I can hear Matthew Good as Rob Evans in The Offer making this pitch. All right, Bubby. We got a monk. I love the sounds. By the way, you're part of the reason this excites me too. I can't remember the name of the series though. I think it was Kingdom.
It was Kingdom.
The Korean,
Yeah.
kind of that like period piece zombie thing too. And that really worked for me. So this is exciting. Anyway, Rob, what do you think about the sounds of this?
Well, you know, what's interesting to me is that, like all great horror, it's metaphorical, whether it's body horror, which zombies are kind of a subgenre of body horror. The idea of what is human, what makes human beings human, and the horror of zombies is that who we are, the essence of our rationality, our morality, our humanity is taken away from us, and our bodies are subverted and turned into something awful, and our humanity is removed from them. And to set this in a situation with monks that are having to deal with, did God do this to us? Is God testing us? What does this mean? You know, we're here to help people, but they don't know that they can't be helped. If it's an affliction, especially in Europe, you've got the Black Death, the plague. There's all these really great historical ideas in this overall pitch. I'm like, I know this sounds silly to say, but the intellectual ideas contained in this zombie apocalypse movie are what attract me to it.
It's what's fascinating
The
about it.
milieu, yeah, and it makes it worth watching. It gives you an interesting conundrum. Like, especially, can you imagine these monks trying to figure out, well, what should we do? What does God want us to do? Are we being tested?
Yeah, this would have been right at the beginning of the Black Death, the bubonic plague.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
So it's like an offshoot
That's a
of that.
real-
And I love the
Interesting
cast. I
setting.
mean, they always cast monks as these old guys, but there used to be young monks.
Yep.
You know, and at the time, life expectancy wasn't that long, especially less when they're zombies. But I would love to see, I would love to see this. I mean, this sounds really, really, really good. And, I just want to give a shout out. I love the idea of period horror. And one of the things I'm really looking forward to, especially because Hannibal creator Brian Fuller tweeted out how much he liked the new Predator animated movie, Killer of Killers, that's coming to us in the first week of June. He said it's awesome. And the new trailer they released of all the it's not ninjas, they're samurai, but come on. Samurai against Predator. I mean, give me that historical horror because I love that.
Well, and how often have we said, I want to see monks fighting zombies?
And that
If I had $1 for every time.
the Kingdom series you brought up was great.
Yeah, I liked Kingdom.
It was beautifully done, really well done.
All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about the sounds of this? I think it sounds amazing. This Rapture movie can't get here fast enough for me. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's talk about this, shall we? Obviously, we're now super close to the launch of the new DCU. Now, some people may say, and understandably so, that it kind of already launched with Creature Commandos, but it didn't. It launches with Superman. That's when it really launches. And the questions have started to come out. Now, we know a number of the projects, right? Like, we know Superman. We know Lanterns. We know Peacemaker. We know Supergirl. All this stuff that's coming out by the end of 2026. But one of the big questions that's kind of been floating around, and we've had a number of you guys write into the show and ask is, timeline-wise, how does it all come into play? Does Superman happen after or before Peacemaker? Does Lanterns happen before or after Superman? Everybody assumes Supergirl happens after Superman, yes, but where does it relate to the other things coming? Well, James Gunn is probably the most active movie executive in the business on social media, often responding to viewers' questions. And somebody on Threads straight up asked him, at one of the upcoming events, can you lay out what the timeline is here with the upcoming stuff? And James Gunn just straight up responded. He said this: as of now, this is James Gunn speaking, it's basically as the movies and shows come out. So the timeline, he says, of course, some of them will feature flashbacks, but the timeline is in order: Creature Commandos, Superman, Peacemaker, Lanterns, and then Supergirl. That's the order they're being released, and that's the order, the timeline. That's the proper timeline order in which the events happen. Now, there's two particularly interesting things that jump out to me about this. Number one, and they're both revolve around Lanterns, is that Lanterns, the series happens before whatever events are going to come in Supergirl. So it's coming out in proper timeline order. But the second thing is, Lanterns is coming out before Supergirl? I don't know why. I just always had it in my headcanon that Lanterns still has way more. I mean, Millie Alcock has finished shooting Supergirl, right? We found out Jason Momoa finished shooting a little bit ago, but there's still some for Millie Alcock to do. But now she's done. Principal photography on that movie's pretty much done.
That makes sense, though, June. Yeah, and then it's supposed to be like February, March for Lanterns.
Yeah, so Lanterns, this is a full series they're producing. And I just kind of assumed that it would come out after Supergirl, but it's actually coming out before. And I'll tell you why I'm clearly most excited about Superman. The one I'm really excited for Peacemaker as well, but while I'm most excited for Superman, I gotta say, the one I'm probably most intrigued by is Lanterns.
Yeah, me too.
especially once they really emphasized and leaned into this is an HBO show,
Yeah.
a DC Universe show. That's HBO.
Yeah.
And when you look at the most recent one that they did that with, Penguin, that got nominated for Best Drama Series at the Emmys. I mean, it turned out pretty good. Now, you do that with Lanterns, as particularly when you look at the cast.
Kyle Chandler, come on. Nicest man in the industry.
And
I
Aaron
love
Pierre,
Kyle
Jon
Chandler.
Stewart.
So good.
I love Kyle Chandler. He's so good. By the way, totally, obviously because of Jeremy Renner, he gets totally overlooked, but his short, only couple episode run in Mayor of Kingstown was great, where he plays Renner's big brother. Anyway, the cast is amazing. It's an HBO show, and now we're finding out it is actually going to come out before Supergirl. I'm really intrigued by this one. Hey, Rob, you see this. What stands out to you? Anything interesting here? What do you think about the timeline stuff? How do you see it?
Well, I think the timeline, it's nice to know that it's set out this way, but, you know, I've been intrigued by that Lantern series since they've only released one official photograph, and that was the photograph
Walking down
of
the
Kyle
road.
Chandler and Aaron Pierre walking down the road, which to me was, that's what they're leading off with in terms of, and I'm like, that excites me because, you know, I grew up, when I got back into reading comics in the early 80s regularly, when I started going to the comic book store, they reprinted the Green Arrow, Green Lantern the storyline.
By the way, that is such a great picture.
That's a great picture.
That is a great picture.
I mean, that's from a superhero story that's going to be on HBO, and those are space police, you know, that have rings that they can fly. And when I see that as the lead,
Well,
I'm
that went
like,
right on the.
there you go.
Yep.
I'm like, if this is what they're going for, this
Well, you're the
is the
best.
Green Lantern, Green Arrow miniseries I was intrigued by. I mean, it's not Green
King of
Arrow,
Happy
obviously,
Accidents.
but the fact that they're treating it this way and they have to go solve a murder or whatever it's going to be, this tells me I'm in. Whatever it is, I'm in. The fact that, you know, I'm going to tell you something, John. I freely admit this. I watched Green Lantern over the weekend. I don't know why.
The Ryan
because-
Reynolds
Reynolds one?
Yes, the Ryan Reynolds one. I know, you're all looking at me like, why? But-
Are you okay?
Okay, here's the thing.
He likes poop
I
clouds.
had not seen it. I own the disc, but I've never watched it. And it said extended cut, so I started playing it. I wanted to see. There's a lot of good stuff in that movie, but unfortunately, there's a lot of bad stuff. So
I
totally.
completely agree. Is Green Lantern a good movie? I will not say yes to that. I just don't. I think there's just too much decent stuff in it
There,
that does get ruined. But there's enough decent stuff in it that I think
There's a
prevents it
lot
from
of
being a
cool
dumpster
stuff.
fire.
Oa, the Guardians, all the different Lantern Corps. I mean, the whole thing with Parallax was goofy.
That was weird.
And they're fighting. There's a real tonal problem in that
Having
film.
Kilowog in your first rendition of Lanterns is really fun.
Yeah, it was-
I'm okay with that.
Loved all that. I
That's
loved
something
everything
I
about
like.
Oa.
Clark Duncan do the voice of Kilowog.
I think you're
Yeah.
right.
And
Yeah.
I loved his voice as Kilowog.
And there was, but then it was just this the
the
villain.
only thing I liked.
It was just goofy all around. It didn't work. The tonal thing. The verisimilitude was shattered. But I did watch it, and I was thinking to myself about this photograph from the Lantern's photograph. I was thinking about that because I was thinking about dude. I can't explain it. I mean, I'm a nerd, but it was really interesting to think about what they're going to do with this show, and the fact where Gunn and the DCEU is taking us tonally. I'm very excited about because to go from Superman to Peacemaker to Lanterns to the Tom King inspired Supergirl movie is going to be a journey that I'm excited to go on. So if that explains to all the people that are like, "Hey, you're such a shill," this is exactly why.
No, Rob
I'm
works for
interested.
free.
I do. I work
no.
for free for everybody. Yeah. And I wish I was a shill. But I'm interested in the entire process of this, mostly because of the picture.
By the way, I got to throw this in there. One of our live viewers, Jason Elliott, for whenever they do bring in Kilowog, Ron Perlman
I
as the
was
voice
gonna
of Kilowog.
say.
He'd be
That's
great.
that
Call
his
James
voice would
Gunn
be
now.
If
perfect.
Momoa can play Lobo, he can play. Come
Oh
on,
my
I mean,
Ron
and
Perlman
I'm
can
so
do Kilowog.
good.
Ron Perlman doesn't have to do a Hellboy and put on a suit. He just has to go into a sound booth and read. But
Yeah.
his
He'd be
voice as
killer.
Kilowog
Oh,
Be great.
would be great. I
I'd
love
love it.
that. Anyway, Chris, with the lineup, with the order, anything standing out to you here?
Ooh, I mean, one, I love that we are just going in sequential order. I think that's a smart move here, too.
I agree.
Because then as we're ushering people into this new version of the DCU, for all of us who are not diehard comic book fans or not diehard DC fans, it's more accessible of, oh, I don't have to worry about time jumps. I don't have to worry about a blip. I don't have to worry about this, that, or the other.
So wait, this happened before the last thing we watched?
Exactly. You don't have to give cliff notes. And I know some people think like, oh no, we should make it so it's made for the comic book fans. It still will be. It just still also needs to be accessible for other people so we can usher in new comic book fans. That's how this works, guys. We want everyone to enjoy it and have Easter eggs and fun little moments for all of us nerds to go, ooh, I can't believe they did that. We're going to dive into that more. That excites me. Supergirl being the final thing in the lineup is what I'm most excited about here, because everything about that story is pretty brutal.
Yeah.
And I don't think people who haven't read that comic are fully understanding how intense that comic can be. And I feel like that is exactly where to position it. Show us your characters, give us all that hope, show us the people who are existing and protecting our universe, and then hit us with Supergirl of tomorrow. And oof, we are setting her up for success in that position.
They're also doing something really interesting. Tone. Mm-hmm. Going from the sort of PG-rated Silver Age super science of Superman, then you're going into the R-rated mayhem of Peacemaker. Then you're going into probably the more, I mean, making the Lanterns, I'm just going by a picture, a more earthbound.
Yeah, very
You're
true
showing
detective.
these cosmic characters being detectives, and then going to Supergirl is doing something exactly diametrically opposed to what the MCU does, is have it on there's a certain tonal level. They can change it up with Guardians, but they're going from PG to R to maybe R-ish PG to PGR of Supergirl. I mean, it's really interesting.
Yeah.
And one's comedic, one's serious, one's effervescent, and the one's hardcore. That's interesting to
By the
me.
way,
Absolutely.
a lot of people are like miss this, is that the person directing the Supergirl movie is Craig Gillespie, who directed I, Tonya. The recent movie that was totally overlooked by way too many people, Dumb Money, which I loved.
Great
Dumb
movie.
Money. I thought that
movie.
was amazing. He directed Cruella, which I thought was really quite good. I mean,
like
they got a
Cruella.
solid director on board for that too.
Well, to your point, like what stands out to me in all of that is the dialogue, the writing.
Yep.
So
And his
Absolutely.
ability to really take that and have it come across on screen properly.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? James Gunn has laid out the order in which the events actually happen in the DCU, and the order, it's the same, that they're actually going to come out. And I think Chris is right. This is a really good move when you're introducing a new series or a new cinematic universe. Just tell everything linearly right now. Don't do a lot of time jumping other than, quick flashbacks. Whatever you think about it, and which one of these projects are you most excited about, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, it's time for us to say adieu to Robert Meyer Burnett.
Happy 2000th, John. Very proud and honored to be a part of it.
And of course, Chris Carr.
Happy 2000th, and this also falls on Slapdragon's birthday. So thank you, Slapdragon, for being a wonderful, wonderful fan subscriber and always being kind in the chat. What a good show for you to have a birthday on.
there you go.
So listen, guys, we still have a number of things we need to talk
He has a
about.
great collection.
Not need to talk, but we need to get around to your comments and questions. That's what's time. The most important part of our show, of course. But before we get to your comments and questions, we're going to take a quick second here and thank another sponsor of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, our friends at Stitch Fix. We want to take a second and thank a sponsor of today's video, Stitch Fix. Guys, you know I love movies, but you also know I have absolutely no fashion sense, and I absolutely hate shopping for my clothes. But thankfully, I have found a better way. Stitch Fix online personal styling makes it easy. With Stitch Fix, I get a stylist who understands my style, size, and budget, and they do all the shopping for me. Because look, shopping and figuring out style can be overwhelming, especially for somebody like me. When it comes to getting dressed, I don't even know where to start, to be honest. That's why I love having a Stitch Fix stylist. They really know what works for me. I get pieces that make me look great, and it's a real confidence boost. You just give your stylist your size, style, and budget preferences. You get to order boxes when you want and how you want, no subscription required. They send you personalized pieces, and the fit is always on point. No stores, no crowds, no stress. Just personalized looks that you will love. So guys, make style easy. Get started today at stitchfix.com/Campea. That's stitchfix.com/Campea. And thank you to our friends at Stitch Fix for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. Okay, guys, with that down, let's get on to the important stuff. Your comments and questions. Jonathan, what we got up first?
The McWhopper says, not sure if you've heard, Reacher and Neagley spotted at a Cubs game over the weekend. Word is it's a Reacher spinoff for Neagley's character, not Reacher season 4. Good to see the team is still active, though I wonder, what's the point of the spinoff?
Well, spin-offs, same point of every spin-off. You're taking a character from the main thing and focusing stories more on them.
Expanding on it.
So, and yeah, I don't know if that was for, like, I saw the pictures, the video of them, the Alan Ritchson and I can't remember the name of the actress who plays Neagley, but together at a game. And I don't know if they were just there at the game. I don't know if they were filming or whatever. Anyway, yes, we are getting a Neagley spin-off. Neagley's a great character. So, I mean, you asked, what's the point of spin-off? What's the point of any spin-off?
Maria Sten.
Right? She's really good in the show. And so, yeah, telling a story based more revolving around that character instead of on Reacher. Now we can go deeper into this character. I'm down for it. I mean, I think they've done a great job with Reacher. I think they'll do a great job with Neagley.
Well, look, Detote is insinuating money, but it's streaming. So, you know.
Yeah. All right. What's next?
Nick from Down Under. G'day. John and crew, especially Rob, love that dude. How will the Gunverse portray Batman and Superman's relationship? Given they've both been active for a while, will they be rivals, friends already? Will Batman Bruce get mentioned in Superman?
Okay, here's my guess, and it's a pure fan-based guess. All right, no, based on no actual information. Okay, my guess is they're going to start the DCU with them having a cold relationship.
Exactly.
I think it's going to be cold.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I like acknowledgement. Each one of them are heroes. Superman will understand Batman is a good guy in a world of good guys and bad guys. Batman's a good guy, but may have a very frigid attitude towards him and vice versa. I don't think it's going to be antagonistic, but I think cold. And then my guess is over the course of the DCU, you're going to see their relationship form.
Because there's no way the DCU doesn't eventually move towards a Justice League.
Oh, of course. Yeah, 100%. And I think that's got to start with Batman and Superman and them developing a trust and all that kind of stuff. So that's my guess about how they're going to do it. But listen, they may go totally different. Like we could get a scene in this where Superman is having a really hard time and just saying, I wish Bruce were here or something. I mean, so they might already have a great relationship. I don't know. But my guess is it'll start as a cold relationship and get warmer as they go.
Okay.
All right, what's next?
Mr. Snivy says, out of these Ben Stiller roles, which is your favorite? Zoolander, Tug Speedman from Tropic Thunder, Alex from Madagascar, Larry from Night at the Museum, which I've never seen a Night at the Museum, or Walter Mitty.
Oh, Zoolander.
Yeah, mine's Zoolander, 100%.
Easy. Now, it might have been a little bit of a more difficult question had you included, I'm forgetting the character's name now, but from Dodgeball.
Oh, I was.
Nobody makes me bleed my own blood.
I just feel like that was an angrier version of Zoolander, though.
Maybe that's true, but it's a great character nonetheless. But yeah, man, listen, a Zoolander is for those who watch my show for a long time, Zoolander is one of my top 10 favorite comedies of all time. The first one, not the second one. And so yeah, I'm definitely going to go with Zoolander.
All right.
All right, what's next?
And you know what? Quick tip. If you guys have not, because you're probably aged out.
Goodman. Goodman was his name.
Oh, yeah. Go back and find clips of the Ben Stiller show from the 1990s. It is so good.
You know, I've never seen a single episode.
Dude, it's so good.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it's ridiculous. It's stupid, but it's stupid on purpose. Good Guatemalan Kid, 3-parter, says, greetings from Guatemala, Campea crew, a longtime fan and follower.
Thank you.
Andor was so great, such a masterpiece. I just watched Rogue One with the context of the series, and it elevates even more the movie. Beautiful. Shout out to our good Guatemalan kid, Adria Ahorna, I'm thinking, aka Bix. She needs more roles, by the way.
Yeah, she was great.
who joins Oscar Isaac as our two Guatemalan stars in Star Wars. Adria delivers such a powerful performance with key moments like Episode 3 and those final moments in Episode 11 and 12. Taking a big decision for the future of the entire galaxy. Now that we know more, do you think Cassian was thinking about Bix in his last minutes at the end of Rogue One? Best love in Star Wars next to Han and Leia. And you know what's funny? It does change that because I always thought, well, her or Andor and what's her name? He's
Jyn?
hugging her. I'm like,
Jyn Erso?
oh, they've made some romantic connection. But then you think about it after seeing this, it's like they were just holding each other for the rebellion, for each other, for everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because remember, Cassian at the end, he doesn't know about his child.
No.
I mean, as far as we know, he doesn't even know about his child. So did he have a thought of Bix at the, I'm sure he did. I'm sure like in that last moment when he knew there was no escaping his fate, he probably thought about a number of people. And obviously the front of that line would be Bix. Absolutely and truly. And like, yeah, I still have not done my rewatch of Rogue One. I mean, I've seen the movie many times, but I have not done my rewatch of Rogue One since Andor ended. And I'm really excited actually about sitting down and just now watching that movie with the whole context and perspective of the Andor series, which again is an absolute masterpiece, the best Star Wars thing ever made since Return of the Jedi. And I can't wait to do that. All right, what's next?
Dean Cain is my Superman, says Discourse has always followed comic book movies. Mr. Mom is Batman, for instance. But my God, John, every time some nerdy Facebook page posts a Superman picture, the comments are littered with very, very sad, miserable people. Is this the worst it's ever been?
I don't know if it's the worst it's ever been.
I feel like it's just a constant.
Give me a quick second here. I need... Oh, you know what? Let me see if I can... Somebody just sent this to me. And let me make sure I'm going to the right place to find it. Let me see here. Oh, yes. Yes. All right, so...
Want to bring it up or yet?
Give me 1 second here. Okay. Now, before you bring it up,
okay.
remember, everybody today, it'll never be as good as Michael Keaton as Batman. That's the all-time classic and blah, blah, blah. Now, this is before Twitter and before Instagram and before social media. But even then,
Exhibit A.
Newspaper article, once they announced that Michael Keaton was playing Batman, boo-hoo, Batman. Bad news for Batman fans who hated the campy 1960 TV show. Michael Keaton will reportedly play the Cape Crusader in Warner's upcoming big screen Batman, which begins filming and whatever. Casting Keaton probably means that long-considered plans for a serious, dark, and brooding Batman a la RoboCop have been scrapped. It seems director Tim Burton, Beetlejuice, may want to return to the days of silliness with Adam West, when Adam West played Batman. Serious Batman fans generally loathe that version. One consolation, Jack Nicholson will apparently play Joker.
Oh, this show's WB doesn't know what they're doing.
They don't know what they're doing. Yeah. I mean, look. And it wasn't unsimilar for when they got Brokeback Mountain Boy to play Joker.
Oh, man. Yeah.
That was all the discussion. That was all of it. When they announced Heath Ledger as Joker, like you thought Twilight Boy was bad. Every discussion I saw about it, the guy from Brokeback Mountain is going to be Joker. Everybody
10 things I hate about you.
They all hated it.
You want to know why? It's called acting.
Yeah.
They're actors. It's not really the Joker. It's an actor.
And here's the thing. We never know what's in the director's mind. And when Christopher Nolan was thinking about Joker, we had no idea what Christopher Nolan was thinking about. Only Christopher Nolan knew what his vision of Joker was. And then he was able to recognize that Heath Ledger was the perfect guy to bring that interpretation of Joker to life. And he was perfect. But see, here's the thing. People today on social media, now with social media, everybody gets to share their 2 cents. And that's a good thing with drawbacks, right? The democratization of information and opinions online, because social media allows everybody now to put up something that the whole world can see. That's a good thing, but it has its drawbacks, as most good things do. And you get these fucking lizard cooches who just come on online and like say,
I'm really glad I wasn't drinking anything in that moment.
and just say whatever they want. Oh, no, David, you don't know shit about David Cornsweet. You don't know shit about him. And mostly it's just ass hurt people that it's not still Henry Cavill playing Superman. By the way, none of you love Henry Cavill's Superman as much as I do. But, you know, it was time to move on and time for a new thing. And everybody brings their own agendas to it. But listen, I got no doubt. If James Gunn knew that David Cornsweet was going to be the best guy to bring this, it's the same thing as when Christopher Nolan, and everybody yelled about it, but Christopher Nolan knew that Heath Ledger was the right guy to bring that, his vision of Joker to life. David Cornsweet is the guy to bring James Gunn's vision of Superman to life.
I just can't imagine at this time being like, I'm going to be a critic of Chris Nolan's casting and his casting director.
I mean, yeah. I mean, so, and listen, that doesn't mean the movie's going to be good. The movie might be bad.
Yeah.
I've had a bunch of movies in the last couple of years that I just was sure were going to be great, and I came out of them disappointed. It happens. Maybe that happens here. But James Gunn, just like Christopher Nolan, and only Christopher Nolan, knew what his vision of Joker was before they made the movie. Only James Gunn knows his vision of Superman. And as the only guy who knew his vision of Superman, he's the only one qualified to say who's the best guy to play it. And he decides David Cornsweet. And listen, we may watch it and think he doesn't do a good job. Well, then let's criticize it. For now, just shut your pie holes and let's see how it turns out. He's clearly a good actor if you've seen Hollywood. He's clearly a good actor.
Yeah,
so let's just hold off a little bit until we see it. And if it's bad, it's bad. If it's good, it's good. We'll just wait and see. All right, what's next?
All right. How's the eggs? What? Do you guys notice that in the Superman trailers, yellow and dark brown are the prominent colors in most of the trailer? Small detail, but I love when filmmakers put that much care into the storytelling. I just wanted to share my observation.
I think there's a bunch of, I think that's just more at the selection of shots. What a lot of people have observed is that's a very, in contrast to Man of Steel, because one of the criticisms that people had about Man of Steel amongst many was the muted coloring, desaturated look, all that kind of stuff. I personally never cared. I mean,
I didn't care either.
The movie was the movie, but I think what a lot of people then mentioned with this stuff is that it's very bright. It's very vivid. It's very colorful. And I think a lot of the browns and everything come from the shots they've selected. Like it's after battles and after fights and in the midst of dust clouds and stuff like that. We'll see what his overall cinematography vision is once we see the film, but I think that just had to do more with the shot selection. But we'll see.
You're right, because in the Fortress of Solitude, a lot of blue. A lot of blue.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Tyler Yates. Hey guys, hope y'all are having a great day. Doing a Mission Impossible rewatch.
Nice.
I'm on Fallout. My God, I forgot how good this was, and Henry Cavill is just great in it. Looking forward to Final Reckoning. This is one of Cavill's best performances. Thanks. Or is this one of Cavill's best performances?
It's a great performance. It's a really good one. I just recently watched this interview with Tom Cruise where he just broke down the whole scene where Henry Cavill cocks his arm like does that.
I know, yeah.
And Tom Cruise just does this big breakdown of it. It was glorious and one of the best shots in the movie, and it really was truly great. And of course, it will go down in infamy for DC fans as the movie that caused Henry Cavill to have the whole CGI redo of his face because Paramount would not let him shave his mustache
The
off.
old stash.
So they had to do that weird CGI with his mustache thing. All right, what's
Mustache
next?
Gate. Yasmer says, it's kind of funny that after watching 2 entire seasons of Andor and Rogue One, that it's Luke and Han receiving medals in New Hope when they've been fighting in the rebellion for 2 days. Yes, but they also did just stop the massive Death Star.
Yes, they
from
did
destroying the
actually
rebellion.
blow up the Death Star.
It's not how long they did it; it's what they did.
Yeah, it's listen. I hate to beat an old dead horse, but again, I don't speak Wookiee. All right, but in my head canon, when Luke and Han, after getting their medals, they turn around and face the audience, and the audience claps, and Chewbacca lets out his roar. I imagine in my headcanon, what he's saying in Wookiee is, where the fuck is my medal?
Oh boy. Justice for Chewbacca.
Like you told me, get dressed up, Chewie, we're about to walk the line. Oh, cool. And he does his fur all nice, shines up his little thing across his chest, gets his bow, puts his bowcaster in a nice little thing, and then dun 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 dun, dun, he's walking down proudly with Luke and Han, and he gets up on the stairs and is made to feel like a total chud because he doesn't get a medal. Everybody else, Luke and Han, the other two guys who walked up there with him, they got medals. No medal for Chewie.
You don't pilot the ship, you don't get a medal.
And he's sitting there and he's saying, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Where was Chewie's medal? And if you weren't going to give him one, why do you make him stand up there like a dick?
That's why C-3PO got so nervous in that shot.
Yeah. And by the way, Freddie B brings up a really good question.
Well, let's see.
Where's Wedge Antilles' medal? Now, granted, Wedge it wasn't the one who blew up the Death Star. Get out of there, Wedge. You're not doing any good back there. And he flies off. Okay, maybe that's why he didn't get it. But Andor was dead. He couldn't walk up there and get a medal. Luthen was dead. He couldn't walk up there and get a medal.
It had to be done.
It had to be done. In hindsight of the grand scheme of Star Wars, it really should have been Mon Mothma giving the medals, right? But they hadn't fleshed out all the Star Wars lore. If I had to do a George Lucas-like remastering, reversion, updated version of the movie, I would CGI Leia out and have her standing off to the side and have the one putting the medals on them be Mon Mothma.
Yeah.
Or you know what? Listen, Leia herself should have been getting a medal. She's the one who got the Death Star plans out.
She was on that ship, man.
Yep. So it should have been, if I had to do a special edition, a Star Wars special edition, I would digitally move Leia over to the side and have her walking up the aisle with Han, Luke, and Chewie, and have it be Mon Mothma bestowing medals, including one for Leia. That's how I would have
And
done
then
it.
do an in memoriam for Alderaan.
Yes. All right. What's next?
Tron. Just finished Claire Obscure Expedition 33 video game, and what a masterpiece in gaming. What the small device team of Sandfall Interactive were able to create is remarkable and just strengthens my opinion that this is the greatest storytelling medium.
No, it's not.
I don't agree with that.
Video games are not remotely the greatest.
It is
storytelling.
very powerful, but I don't believe
Yeah, it can be very good, interact with the gameplay, but it is not. But it's funny you mentioned that because last night I was having dinner with a buddy of mine, and I specifically brought up Expedition 33. I'm like, hey, listen, I've had a bunch of my viewers writing about this Expedition 33. And he said he really liked it. So I think Ann is still off in Chicago right now. So I think maybe tonight, after watching a little bit of basketball,
Tonight's the night.
I think I'm going to download Expedition 33.
I'm gonna watch Let's Plays. I'm not big on turn-based, and I
really like turn-based.
I just dived back into the remaster of Oblivion, so I'm busy with that. But
oh, you know what? That's one I've been meaning to go back because I've been playing. What's the name of the overall series again? For Oblivion?
Oh yeah, Elder Scrolls.
Elder Scrolls. I've been playing Elder Scrolls games ever since Daggerfall.
That was like number 2 or something like that.
Yeah, like it was Daggerfall. Like it was the first time I played a video game that was open world.
Yeah.
Like look at the map. If I want to go from this town to this town, I can literally just walk there.
I used to say the same thing because Oblivion was and I know Morrowind was there for a long time, but I just didn't know about it. And so I was like, you see that mountain? I could walk to it.
I can walk to that mountain.
That blew my mind.
It was crazy. And that's where I learned, it was playing Daggerfall, that I learned, and I used to love going into the dungeons. The ultimate thing, you get lost in a dungeon, stick to the left wall. Eventually you will get out. Just stick to the left wall. Just keep going, and eventually you'll find your way out. Anyway, so I think I want to try that remastering of Oblivion.
So it's like built like a NASCAR track.
I'll say
it's kind of like a NASCAR track.
I'll say this though: if you're gonna do Oblivion, do it on like Steam or whatever you do, and do it on PC because you can play Oblivion on on Mac or PC. You don't have to do console because I know you like the mouse and keyboard more.
Yeah,
you can play Oblivion just fine on mouse and keyboard on your Mac or whatever.
It's a great time to be an Elder Scrolls fan. I believe they remade the one Jonathan's playing, and
Yeah.
Daggerfall is actually on Game Pass as well.
It is.
So you don't need to dig up any It's just
It's there.
You don't even have
They
to download.
remastered
It's not
it?
remastered.
No, it's not
Oh,
remastered.
it's
It's
like
just
the original.
It's just easy. It's like the streaming right now.
You
It's
would
easy
have
to
to
pick
try it
and play it.
I'm gonna have to go back and play that again.
You will get a migraine looking at the graphics, but yeah, it's there.
I was going to get it, and then I looked up screenshots because I thought it was a new game, and I said, "Whoa, this looks really old. Maybe I won't play it."
It is dated.
Yeah, but you know what? If it's a good
Okay,
game,
you
it's
know
a
what's
good game.
hilarious? I just said the thing that's video games are not the best medium for storytelling remotely. Here's a bunch of people watching. Well, Red Dead. The very fact that you can only name 2, 3, or 4, where we could literally list thousands.
But the thing
of
with-
classic, great story-told movies.
But what is Red Dead?
Proves
It
the
is
point.
it is an homage to Western films.
Yeah, it's an homage to that really got most of its influence from great Western movies. Again, I'm not taking anything away from video games. I'm just saying to call video games the greatest medium for storytelling, it's absolutely asinine. It's ridiculous. Video games are interactive and their gameplay and they're excellent for what they are, but they are not better at what movies do.
Right.
And nor are movies as good at what video games do. They're two different things.
Yeah.
You know, I'm trying to compare them, contrast them, but no, video game is not the best medium for storytelling. Stories being told is the best medium for storytelling.
Did I
Anyway,
mention you guys that I'm a certified paramedic right now?
Are you?
Yeah, because I'm playing simulator, but I moved on.
playing simulator?
I moved on to electronic repair simulator. So I'm putting up light bulbs in houses. You know, I'm setting up the cable lining.
You're all about that simulator
Yeah,
life.
I'm getting all this certification from video games. I can't believe it.
Amazing.
Hire me.
All right, what's next?
I am Justice says, "Hey John, today's useless fun fact for you: Final Fantasy VII villain Sephiroth has been voiced by 2 Superman actors, George Newbern from the Justice League cartoons and Tyler Hoechlin from the CW."
I never knew that. Yeah, that is one of the great. You remember I was just talking about I love turn-based games. I think my real love for turn-based games originated with the original version of Final Fantasy VII. I really like that mechanic for some. I know a lot of people poo-poo on it, but I really dig it. It works for me a lot.
That's a legendary game. Right
Yeah.
there.
All right, what's next?
All right, I was wondering if someone was going to catch this. Tax says went to see The Wiz on Sunday. They did like a re-release.
I did not know that.
Yeah, when
get
Mike-
on down, get on down.
I love this song.
It's not about urine.
No, or the cheese. When Michael Jackson ended, "You Can't Win," the theater exploded in applause. There were other heavy applause moments like Diana Ross' version of Home, but none like Michael Jackson. Will be a 900 million film for sure. Well, but that audience is specifically Michael Jackson fans if you're going to see The Wiz.
Yeah, so of course they're going to explode and be excited and happy. It's like, wow, I was at Star Wars Celebration and the crowd really cheered.
Yeah.
Because that's all the Star Wars fans. But listen, yeah, Michael is going to be a $1 billion
Yeah,
film.
it'll be huge.
It's I'm not saying it's going to be the best movie. Maybe it will be, I don't know, but it's going to be a $1 billion film. It will. Like if what was the Queen one again? Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah,
That was nearly $1 billion film.
that shocked me.
It did me too. Michael Jackson, the Jackson biopic will be $1 billion film. Like you take that to the bank, segment this out, it'll be $1 billion film. Anyway, all right, what's next?
Okay, we got 6 more. I lost my spot. That's The Wiz. Okay, final 6. Hey, discussing film, Twitter announced that Michael Mando will be returning as Scorpion in Spider-Man 4. It came from a Chinese Disney event. This is great as he is amazing in Better Call Saul. His final scenes in that show broke me. Do you think he's a good actor? He's a great actor. I don't know if I trust the report.
I don't know if I trust the report, but if he is in there, that's great. I mean, it's continuity, so
Yeah.
why not? I mean, make it happen. I mean, look, ever since the end of that one movie in the post-credit scene, a lot of people were wondering, are we going to revisit that story thread?
Right.
And if it, again, I don't know if there's any validity to the report. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I'm just saying I don't know. But if it is, yeah, I don't see anything wrong with it. I think that could be fun. All right, what's next?
Max says, I was sure James Gunn was going to go for a John Byrne-esque modern age direction for a Pa Kent. The fact that Clark has both parents as an adult allows him to be different from other heroes. It might even be one of the reasons why he is who he is. We don't know technically what happens to Pa Kent.
No, listen, I have no doubt that at some point in the DCU, maybe even in this movie, Pa Kent dies. But much like, in Smallville, we picked up with Clark in Smallville where, Bo Duke Or was he Luke? No, I think he was Bo. Which one was John Schneider? Was he Bo or Luke Duke? Anyway, was still alive. And at some point in the story, after we get attached to him and feel emotionally connected, then have the tragedy of that character's passing. So I
They say he was
like,
Bo.
Was he Bo? Okay.
Bo.
So he definitely wasn't Daisy. So although I don't know, John Schneider in those shorts would be
You never
interesting.
know.
They're still called Daisy Dukes to this day.
Oh yeah.
I think it was a really cool idea to start Superman with Pa Kent still there. Now, again, maybe in Superman 2, maybe in but at some point he'll probably pass, and that'll be tragedy and heartbreak. But I like the idea that they're starting with him. I really do. All right, what's next?
Okay. Sebastian says, "Hey guys, I'm showing my wife Star Wars for the first time. She's seen episodes 1 through 6 and Clone Wars. I love Rogue One, but haven't seen Andor yet. Which order should I do for her next? Andor and Rogue One, or Rogue One? Oh, Andor. And
Andor, then Rogue One.
Season 1, Season 2, and then
Yep,
Rogue One.
100%. And you know, my order now, when people would ask me what order should I show people Star Wars, I would just say, just show them the original Star Wars. There's a couple other things that I really like, but I mean, don't go to the garbage prequels. The sequels start pretty good, but then they end as a dumpster fire. And there's some other stuff that has their merits and not, but you can maybe now I will tell people moving forward, if you're trying to introduce somebody to Star Wars, the new order for viewing is Andor Season 1, Andor Season 2, Rogue One, Star Wars Empire Jedi. That's the new Star Wars to me. Like, when people have always asked me, what is your favorite movie? I say Star Wars. But when I say Star Wars, I don't mean Star Wars A New Hope. I mean Hope, Empire, Jedi. That to me is Star Wars. There's been other things, all that kind of stuff, but Star Wars to me has always been New Hope, Empire, Jedi. I honestly think now, after Andor Season 2, for the first time in my life, my definition of Star Wars has now changed. For the first time in my life. Star Wars to me is now Andor Season 1, Andor Season 2, Rogue One, New Hope, Empire, Jedi. That now to me is Star Wars. I'm not saying that's what it needs to be for other people. I'm just saying for me, my whole life has been one thing, and now it's changed. That's how good Andor is. And that to me now is what Star Wars is. Again, and I'm not taking anything away from Mandalorian. I'm not taking anything away from Rebels. I'm not taking anything away from any of that other stuff. But even in the midst of those things, Star Wars to me has been Hope, Empire, Jedi. And now it's Andor, Rogue One, Hope, Empire, Jedi. That's how good it is. All right, what's next?
All right, so this is actually, that one repeated itself. So this is the last one. Dean Cain is my Superman. Did you see the recent remarks from the Borderlands boss, who told a fan if they can't afford the $80 price, they aren't a real fan. Otherwise, they'd find a way to buy it.
Yeah, I saw that.
Didn't really say that.
My
Yes.
way of finding it is Black Friday, where I pay half price.
Yeah, you can do that.
That was a stupid thing to say. And maybe it just came out wrong. I know, listen, I know, you know too, everybody knows this, that sometimes you're trying to say a thought and it just comes out the wrong way. And maybe that's what it was with this guy. Like, he's trying to say, maybe he's just a wonderful guy and he just said something the wrong way, or was jarbling his thoughts, and it all came, who knows? That was a really stupid thing to say. What would have been more appropriate is to say, look, we don't want to charge this much for the games, but the reality is everybody wants artists to get paid more, so we pay more for our talent. It costs us more to make these games now. We pay people better now. And it's not a free thing for us to develop and make. You're talking about a staff of people working years and years on a game. The price tags for us to make these games have gotten higher, and therefore the cost of buying the games is going to have to go up to pay for all that. It would have been a better answer than, Well, if you're a game, stop crying about the price. If you're a real fan, just pay us. That's a stupid thing to say. It's a stupid thing to say. Like Walmart just announced, hey, listen, guys. I don't know if you saw this in the news. Walmart just said, hey, look,
I did.
to us, it's in our DNA to have as low prices as possible. But the reality is, with the tariffs and all these kinds of things, it is now costing us much more to have these goods on our shelves. And because it costs so much more for us to put them on the shelves, we have to raise prices to make sure we don't lose money. That's the kind of answer. I mean, that sucks to still hear, but it's a rational, logical answer. That may not be good news. It may still suck, but it's at least a real, honest, rational answer saying, hey, this tariff nonsense that's going on, it's costing us a ton more to put these goods on our shelf. Therefore, for us to stay in business, we got to raise the prices of the things on our shelf, even though we don't like doing it.
Not to
That's
mention,
what the guy from Borderlands should have said.
should have said.
He should have said
Yeah.
something along the lines of, hey, it's more expensive today than ever to make these games, and therefore we have to charge more to make it viable for us to do it. It's coming out and saying, if you're a real fan, you just pay it. I mean, that's stupid.
Yeah, that's trying to draw like some lines of war between.
It's very aggressive.
I mean, if it was the complete game, I would completely understand. I'd fork up 80 if you say this is the whole game. But then I don't know if there's going to be DLC attached, so then it makes his statements a little bit more harder to swallow. I mean,
All right. Is that it? Do we got any questions from our channel members?
We've got some channel members.
Let's
here.
get over to our channel members here for a few minutes.
We got King Daddy Goat, who says, hey, John and crew, growing up, I wasn't cool because I told my friends I'd never get a Prince Albert piercing. I'm not sure what that is, so I guess I'm not cool. I've never felt so validated. Thank you, Final Destination, Bloodlines. That MRI scene was brutal. Thanks, and Bring on the Filthy.
The Prince Albert is piercing of the ween.
I'm really glad you said that because I was literally just typing in Prince Albert.
look at the images. Click images. Click images. No, we got to confirm.
I literally went Prince and then I went delete.
Yeah. Oh my God! Look at these images.
Go through it.
Yeah. You know, it's just a quick side note. My wife sent me this great video reel of this husband, it's real, laughing at his wife. And she's like, why are you laughing? He goes, okay, everybody. Looks at the camera. My wife went around to everybody in church today. And when they'd ask, you know, what's one of the things you love about your husband? She kept telling them I was well endowed.
Okay.
And she goes, why are you laughing? He goes, what does well endowed mean? She goes, it means you're a good actor. It's like, that's not what it means. And she just kept going around telling people in our church that I'm well endowed.
Was she foreign?
No. She's a good Southern girl.
Okay.
Anyway,
Oh, okay.
listen, no judgment at all. Individual expression and all that kind of stuff. So no judgment. But I have never understood. And just because I don't understand it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying. I've just personally never understood remotely the appeal of, hey, look at that pin. I think I'm going to stick it through my dick. I've just never got that. Never understood it. So when the scene happens in the movie, I was, laughing my ass off.
Maybe some guys just like watching.
The world burn.
No. Oh. Girls go through hoops or jump through hoops or whatever.
Yeah, I guess so.
Anyway, all right, what's next?
We got Henry Lemoyne, who says, hey, John, I remember you talking about who should be the Joker in the new DCU. I think it should be Bill Skarsgård, hands down. He's young, skinny, 6'4", and great at playing creepy characters. He'd be perfect.
He'd be perfect
for
at
what?
That's the thing. He'd be perfect at what? The Joker you have in your head? Every single Joker has been completely different. Heath Ledger, who won an Academy Award for playing Joker, he wouldn't have been the right guy to play Jack Nicholson's Joker. And Jack Nicholson was perfect for the iteration of the Joker that Tim Burton had in mind, but he wouldn't have been a good version of it for Suicide Squad. You know, and so on and so forth. He'd be perfect. You don't even know, you and I don't know at all what the next iteration of Joker is even supposed to be like. So what you say is perfect might actually be the absolute worst casting for it. So that's why, when people ask me, who should play this? I go, I don't care, as long as it's somebody who's very talented. After that, I'll leave it up to the filmmakers because only they know how they're trying to manifest this character uniquely. Because again, Jack's Joker was way different than Caesar's Joker. And Caesar's Joker was way different than Jared's Joker. And Jared's Joker was way different than Heath's Joker. And Heath's Joker was way different than Mark's Joker. And Mark's Joker, they were all inherently Joker, but they were all completely different at the same time. So you can't say one actor would be perfect to play when you have no idea how the character's even supposed to come across. Anyway. All right. What's next?
I got Wiz Khalifa.
Wiz Khalifa as Joker.
We got Matt says hello, says, hey, John and crew, hope you're all well. Who would you say is the most underrated film director? Underrated film director.
I don't know. I need time.
We'd have to look at that because all I can think about,
I walk around off the top of my head.
All I can think about are ones that have been celebrated right now. So
yeah. Anyway, so I would have to think about that.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Logan Vaughn says, while I don't subscribe to the theory that Cassian and Bix Baby turns out to be Poe Dameron,
no, it's not.
I could totally see that happening. They could turn B2EMO into BB-8 too, just like Lando's droid eventually became the Falcon.
Yeah, I don't think that's the case. Look, again, I think Rob raised a really good point the other day when you show the baby at the end, it's like, oh, is that designed to get everybody wondering who does that baby end up being, right? I think Rob was right, though, when he brought up the thing was that last shot just allowed us to have a visual image of what Cassian died for. Because we know at the end of Andor 2, he's going off on a mission that will eventually lead him to his death. And by showing that last shot of Bix and the baby, it wasn't to get us speculating about who does that baby end up being later on, but rather to give us a visual of what he was fighting and died for. And I think that was a real special thing. All right, what's next?
Top Gun Manny, doing Jurassic World Rebirth midnight showing. Hopefully I won't end up regretting it. Something about midnight showings is always pretty magical. Well, if the movie is good.
Midnight showings to me lost their appeal. Look, one of the big parts of the appeal of midnight screenings, and I used to love going to them, but was that this is the very first screening. Obviously, aside from the premiere and press screenings, whatever, but this is the first open public screening. And you go to the first one and it's at midnight. Once they started showing movies at 11 and then 10 and then 9 and then 7 and now 6 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Thursdays, the appeal of the midnight screening just kind of went away because that's no longer the first screening. Now you're just going at midnight to go at midnight. Now, if they had a Wednesday midnight or 12:01 a.m. Thursday, if they had that, then the appeal is back and I'll go. But other than that, it's kind of lost the appeal to me when it's no longer the first screening.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Matt says, hey guys, can't wait for the studio season finale tonight. Last episode was so funny.
God, we just before the camera started rolling, I said to Chris and Rob, man, I cannot wait for the studio, the finale, the CinemaCon finale. This series has been great, man. It's been great. I'm so impressed with it. The frantic kind of nature of it, the dialogue, the long shots, the one episode that was completely all done in one shot. I mean, it's just been a brilliant show. I've loved it.
The Catherine Hahn's
so great.
She's so bad.
She is so great. All right, last question of the day.
Okay, we got the mighty Jor says, what do you make of Thunderbolt's box office performance? Do you think the studio will react?
I think it's exactly where they thought it would be. Why? I was telling people for a year, oh, it's an MCU movie. It's going to be $1 billion. And I kept telling people, guys, it is a bunch of B and C list characters. The movie might be great, and it is great. It's a great movie. The movie might be great, we would say, but don't expect it to make a ton of money. Disney understood this. Marvel understood this when they made it. And as of right now, I mean, across the 300, it's heading towards the $400 million mark at this point.
Yeah, it's got another weekend.
It's got a couple of weekends still to go. It's going to end up right in the neighborhood of kind of where I thought,
400.
to be honest with you. So, yeah, listen, it's the same thing with Superman. The next Superman movie, everybody says, it's got to be $1 billion film. No, it doesn't. It's got to be a good film to set up the rest of the new DCU for success. They don't need it to make $1 billion. They need future movies to make billions of dollars. And they can only do that if Superman is really good. Thunderbolts is clearly positioning the MCU for what's coming later. And they made a movie with all B and C level characters who have already been sidekick and third level characters in other MCU movies. Nobody at Disney had any misconceptions that this was going to be like an $800 million film.
And
None of them did.
And React How. They made a great film. Keep doing that.
Yeah. They made a great movie. They needed that much more than it to be another Captain America
Brave New World.
New World that made 700 million. Because you make 700 million with it, great, but you've just lowered everybody's thoughts about the MCU even more.
Yeah.
What they really needed from this movie made of second and third level characters from other movies is for it to be great and have people coming out and going, man, that's the best Marvel thing I've seen in a while. And that's what the result was. So they're perfectly happy with it. They are. Now, do they want this thing to get over the $400 million mark? Of course they do. Do they want it to beat a Black Adam? Of course they do. And that's where it'll end up. It'll end up in the $400 million range. And I think they're perfectly content with that. I think they knew that's exactly where something like this could probably end up. All right, guys. And that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show podcast. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in those questions. Number one, because it gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported our channel as you did it. A big thank you, of course, to Chris Carr and Robert Meyer Burnett. Also, the guys in the room, Ray Ora.
See you guys tomorrow.
Jonathan Voico.
See you guys later.
My name is John Campea. Thanks a lot for being here, guys. And until next time, my friends, bye-bye.